We're having a great conversation with Louie Giglio, author of the book Not Forsaken, and the book is about fathers and the fatherhood of God. And we all learned that children get their first ideas about who God is from their earthly fathers. But you actually say in the book, Louie, that God is not the reflection of our earthly fathers. If he's not, then what is he?
Yeah, this is the premise of the book. This is really the axiom that the book is built around, that God isn't just a bigger version of our earthly father. And a lot of people are stuck on that. Maybe God's going to walk out on me. Maybe God's going to hurt me. Maybe God is against me. But what we say is God isn't the reflection of our earthly father. He's the perfection of our earthly father. And I think that's important because another person said to me recently, I can't even imagine what you're talking about. I mean, you're talking about a father who's involved and who cares and who's interested. I don't even have a framework for that. I said, I bet you do. And I said, did you ever imagine what it would be like if your dad sobered up and showed up? And they said, yeah, imagine that 100 times, 1,000. So did you imagine what it would be like if your dad ever walked in and said, so tell me what's going on? How can I help? 100 times, 1,000 times. I said, well, every one of those little imagination pathways can lead you to a God who did show up and is still showing up and who does care and who is interested and who does want to help. And so let those imaginations lead you to this God who's waiting for you right now, not just a bigger version of your dad, the perfect version of your dad. He's everything you wanted your earthly father to be, and so much more.
You talk about perfection, and the idea of perfection can either comfort us or intimidate us. And you offer a chapter in the book that talks about the perfection of God and things that we call sometimes what we'd call like the attributes of God, like God is eternal. How can that be a comfort to someone to look at a God like that?
I think being perfect and perfectionism are two different things. And my mom was kind of on the perfectionist side of the scale. So I have a little bit of that in me, and I'm kind of hamstrung sometimes because of that. Procrastinators oftentimes are perfectionists, and they don't want to start things because they're not sure they can do them perfectly. I fall into that category, being a perfectionist procrastinator.
I think you just explained us. Dave, me, I think you just did. And actually, you kind of made me feel better about it, but go ahead.
Yeah, so so I think that perfectionism is probably a negative because it means unless it's perfect, it's not good enough. Unless it's perfect, I'm not going to do it. And that's not what we mean when we say God is a perfect father. We really mean he is a complete father. He's the best version of every one of his characteristics. He's without a gap, without a fault, without anything in him that would be a negative for us. And so that perfection of God is really the completion of God. 7 is the perfect number. It's not because it's perfectionism number. It's the complete number. It's the sign of God's completeness. So I think when we say he's a perfect father, we mean he's the very, 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 very best version of a father that anyone could ever imagine having in their life.